And, I do believe in redemption, and I believe that, I have, one things that still goes on is people still plead guilty and have me decide what their punishment should be. And,
Yeah.
that's a serious, you know, that's a serious place to be for me. That's a
Oh
serious place to
gosh.
be for the defendant. And,
Yeah.
you know, it takes some, you have to try to be humble enough to realize that, I'm not better than this person. My life is not inherently worth more than this person. And, and people make mistakes. And, I was raised in a pretty privileged, safe environment that not everyone was raised in. And that has nothing to do with I didn't choose that.
Yeah.
I would choose it if you would, if somehow you could ask, 8-month-old me, is this the environment you'd like to live in? Well, yes, obviously, but
Yeah.
I didn't choose that. And not everyone chooses their circumstances. And so you need to be mindful of other people's circumstances when you're, evaluating what we should do with them.
So that's I did not know that we were going to move in this direction, but I'm really glad that we did. So I was reading your bio and some of your online stuff this morning, and I guess I had forgotten you were a philosophy major in undergrad, and I have a philosophy degree too. And so that point you just brought up is a pretty deep philosophical notion, and the idea is essentially, if you go back far enough, all of us, like the situation I'm in, the situation you're in, the situation Donald Trump is in, or anybody else, is just pure luck. I mean, I didn't choose my parents. You didn't choose your parents. They didn't choose their parents. We didn't choose where we grew up or what school, for the most part, we went to. And so some people philosophically will say, if that's true, how can we blame people that have grown up in very, very bad environments for becoming criminals, or people that have had parents that are criminals? Like, where is the philosophical justification for that? And of course, if you study this a lot, you know that even if it's luck, your circumstances, we still have to have rules in society that will cause people to modify their behaviors, irrespective of their circumstances. But if just philosophically, Judge or Jesse, just philosophically, there are times when, you are literally sitting as Solomon, and deciding somebody's fate, and that's a huge responsibility. So, talk to us a little bit about how seriously you take that. And what I'm talking about specifically is when it's your decision about whether you're going to send somebody away for some period of time. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you consider that to be an extremely important role that you play? And how do you kind of work through those issues personally?
It's just obviously, it's probably I don't know if it's the most important thing I do, but it's the one that weighs on me the most is,
Yeah.
The person, every time. So just sort of mechanically, they come up and they say, okay, Judge, my client's going to plead guilty to, aggravated robbery. And, Judge, he really wants you to give him deferred adjudication, which is a kind of probation. And if I don't give him that, then he's just got to go to prison. Like so aggravated robbery is 5 years to 99 years or life in prison, or I can put him on deferred adjudication, which is probation. And then if he messes up probation, then the 5 to 99 or life is back on the table. So fills out the paperwork. He'll do an interview with somebody at the probation department, and I'll tell the, I'll tell the defendant, look, you know, um, obviously you need to take this very seriously. But you're putting me in a position where I literally could just send you to life. I could literally send you to prison for life in 5 minutes, and there's really not a whole lot anyone can do about it. Like, I just need you to understand that, number one. Number two, I need anyone who's going to say anything kind or nice about you, you need to find those people. They need to write a letter, you need to drag them in the court, or whatever it is you need to do. You need to get them here. But that's a very weighty decision, because oftentimes in the most serious cases, you have somebody on the other side who's been a victim of this crime that the defendant is pleading guilty to, who's going to say, you know, he needs to go to prison for life, or he needs to go to prison for 30. And that's a really, those decisions are they weigh on you, they stay with you. And I've only been I haven't been a judge that long. I mean, I've been a judge 8 months, but they're, every one of those very serious, I mean, I think about them all the time, and
Yeah.
because it's a weighty thing to decide. And again, as a prosecutor, you can just stand, or as a defense attorney, I mean, either way, you can stand there and just make your argument, advocate for your side, but it's a lot different thing to be the one who actually decides. And so,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is, okay, the severity of the crime, and also just what are we trying to accomplish here? One thing that's really, troubling, not the protests don't trouble me at all. I guess it's sort of like what troubles me is that people feel that the system doesn't give them a fair shake, and obviously there's validity to that. I mean, I think at this point in 2020, to sort of put blinders on and say, no, everyone's treated perfectly the same, no matter, I mean, we all know that's not true. And,
Yeah.
That's sad. But, one thing we can do is to make a better, and it sounds cheesy, but I mean, we need to do a better job of making sure not just that the system's fair, but that the people think it's fair. And when people lose trust in institutions, and we've seen this, this happened before you and I were born, but it's definitely, I feel like it's accelerated in our lifetimes. People have lost trust in institutions. There have been scandals in all kinds of institutions. They've seen institutions say one thing and do another. And so when, and as lawyers, we want our justice system, civil or criminal or family or any other part of the law, we want it to be fair. We want the side that's supposed to win to win. We want the facts to prevail. And when either the facts don't prevail or we don't think the facts have prevailed, that's a problem, because I remember we were told this in law school at UT. Our justice system is what keeps us from enacting revenge on people. I mean,
exactly.
You see people. I mean, when somebody I know you do personal injury work. If a company hurts somebody, and you say, well, you can't go to court. Well, if that were the rule for everyone, then people might band together and say, hey, you know what? Let's go take out, that trucking company. Let's burn it to the ground.
Just take a simple car wreck case. I mean, there are countries where if you get in a car wreck, they'll literally turn around and instead of taking you to court, they'll pull out a weapon and shoot you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why in Russia they have video cameras on their dashboard. Everyone has a video camera on their dashboard.
Absolutely.
It's we want to deter vigilantism. We want to deter people getting revenge. And so we have a court system for that reason. But when that trust is eroded, and when trust in institutions like the police or the courts or, name the institution, when those are eroded, people go their own way and people get frustrated and people take the law in their own hands. And so what we need to, when we see people when we see a large group of people say, hey, this isn't wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you don't want to agree that they're wrong, you at least need to acknowledge how they feel about it. I mean, everyone wants the police, and that's the thing. I mean, in 2020, there's very few things I think we can all agree on, but I think we all agree we want good police officers. Like,
yes,
we want
for sure,
good, fair police officers, and I don't think anyone wants to live in a society where we don't have any police at all, and you're just kind of at the mercy of the biggest, baddest person on the street. And if they're nice, then great. And if not, well, we got a problem. I mean, everyone wants good, hardworking, honest, fair, compassionate, slow to anger police officers. I mean, everyone wants that. But again, every institution that's staffed by human beings is going to fail us in one way or the other.
That's